Hello. I just wanted to make a quick video about some of the moments I've edited in my videos. Just explaining it really. I'm not an expert at this, and there may be faster and easier ways to do it. I don't think all my edits are great, but I wanted to explain it just in case someone could get some use out of it. I sorta just used what I know about Blender to figure most of this stuff out and make some of it possible. First though, I use Filmora. Why do I use Filmora? I don't know. To be honest, it just kinda happened because I was trying to get away from Clipchamp after I lost a whole video to a crash. I'm not saying by any means Filmora is the program you should use. I don't think a lot of people use it, but I'm sure you can find some of the same settings in your program, as it's not really that complicated of an edit. And the camera work is honestly the most important part. I am thinking about changing programs soon though. The first thing I want to show is how I get the footage, as it's the most important factor. Ultracam is the most useful part of this whole thing, and I'll be explaining how I overcome some of its obstacles, but I know that Max's newer versions of Ultracam will overcome some of these things easily. So keep on the lookout with the updates for that so that you can make these types of edits a little easier. Most of the edits I've been doing include 2 links, but I've been working to make more ideas happen with the same principle. So the number one tool is Ultracam's keyframe tool. We basically want to get 2 identical shots with the camera moving the same way at the same speed. But this can also work with fixed camera shots as well. To show an example, in this shrine I just moved the camera down the shrine with 2 keyframes. Then I take control of Link and get him into position. I jump and press R3 to start the camera movement, but so that the scope doesn't come out as well. And I can just cut out the jump in the footage. Then I run Link along. Now I do the same thing again, but on the other side. The only real thing to be mindful of is to not let the 2 links cross paths so that editing will be easier. Now I take the footage into my editing software and find the first frame the camera snaps to position, and cut there. I do that for both shots and then stack them on top of each other so they can play at the exact same time. I used the mask tool to cut one of the videos in half, but I also ended up needing to correct my frame rate to 30 because it was on 25 and that will mess things up. Now that it's lined up, I can just cut the footage to start whenever I want it to, without messing up the timing. You can also see this line in the middle. It's not too obvious for the viewer, but in the mask tool I can blur, and if I blur the line it makes it almost seamless. I find it best to do this in shrines or caves or in rooms so that I don't have to worry about the different times of day, but sometimes I've been doing it outside. So that's the core of what I do. I'll show some examples from my videos though. This one was pretty easy. I placed the camera in a fixed position, but I also press X like 2 or 3 times to put a couple keyframes in this position. In case I accidentally move the camera by mistake, I can just bring it back. I do this all on the Switch by the way, but I'll probably find another setup soon to make it a little faster. I clipped out of the Room of Awakening to get Link on the other side of the vines and just recorded 2 clips. In this one I had to animate the mask because I moved Link too far to the left, but since the timing of when the other Link pops up is later than that, it was fine. This clip is pretty much the same. I have the little track for the wing to move on, so I just make sure that it only takes up 1/2 of the screen. I keyframe the camera again to make sure that I can get it to move back. In this one I just moved really quickly. I had the wing already set up after the first shot so that I could run to it. I masked this side for the wing, but the day cycle is off, and that's nothing a little blur can't help. One thing too is that I can be really particular here about getting the time of day right, or make sure that this is flawless, but sometimes I go with an idea and if the editing sucks, so be it. As long as it gets the point across. Now for this clip I do the same thing as before. I take multiple recordings of the same camera motion and animated the mask to switch sides whenever the camera was not looking at either of them. For this clip I really wanted to have a visual for something lifting and disappearing. I wasn't too happy with the outcome because it was small and it happened so fast that I'm sure people missed it. First I save before starting, and then I record the clip of me just running around, hoping that the moblin would pick something up to throw, while also trying to keep Link out of the shot as much as possible. I recorded a minute or 2 to try to get a few different times when he was lifting objects and basically hope that one of them would work. Then I loaded my save so that I could hopefully have the day cycle about the same. I killed the camp and then just stood in position for a while. I wanted Link to do the thinking pose at some point, and I just kind of waited a minute and did it. To edit it, I just masked out the area that the moblin was in and was trying not to get anything else in the frame. And the time of day wasn't perfect, so I just blur the edges. This shrine overlaying the surface was kind of just a lucky thought, to be honest. In my videos, when I say that the box that contains Hyrule also contains the shrines, I really mean it. So to get this shot, I just keyframe some camera work in the shrine. I basically double press X at each stop so that it gives some time to edit later. Then I record, making sure not to change the speed at all. Afterwards, I load back into Hyrule and record the same keyframes. I don't need to do anything but press R3 and record it. Then in editing, I just animate the opacity. Is that, as I say it, opacity? Occupancy? No, occupancy is how many people are in a place. Opacity? Whatever. To move in and out of the shrine, so I can just change it to where it fades away. Hopefully, you know, letting that make sense. I did end up showing that to some people in my Discord to just double check that there was clarity there, because I was afraid there was just too much going on, but I think I got the point across. This one is from GSI Skip. I did a whole recording of the path to Army, but the issue is the whole thing is never loaded at the same time. So I keyframed the whole path and then recorded it. I would move Link a little further out of bounds to load the next part and then record it again. I would move Link, record, move Link, record. I would keep doing that until pretty much the whole thing was loaded in. I lined up all the footage and then cut out all the sections that had unloaded areas, and then used a dissolve transition so that it would blur the two shots together. And since they're basically the same shot, it looked pretty seamless. I did all this and cut 70% of it and overlaid another video on top of it to explain the line of sight thing. But yeah. One last thing is I use a glitch to remove the camera HUD. I know this will be easy to remove in future versions of Ultracam at some point, but for now I recommend using Suishi's video on how to set that up. I'm pretty sure it's doable in all versions, but this gives me some access to the poses without the camera HUD. And with Ultracam, I can move the camera to get these longer shots of pretty much nothing. There is visually a lot of dead space in my videos, and I've been trying to fill that space with these types of shots. So sometimes I set the glitch up and just run around trying to find neat places to use it. And I always try to leave a little bit of space to the left or right so that I can put text or whatever it may be. I also record for a long time because I can always cut it down, and the different time of day can always add to the different shots. But I love that they can be literally used and reused for so many different things. I know that a lot of smaller YouTubers don't have access to the free cam mod, so one thing I wanted to offer is to make some of these shots for you if you want. As long as you're okay with the shot looking the same as mine or some of the others. To make this happen quickly and easily, I do have some requirements if you're going to want me to make you one. You must have less subscribers than I do on my main channel. And you must be actively trying to make content, as in at least 2 Tears of the Kingdom videos already on your channel. All you need to do is DM me on Discord with a link to your channel, your preferred Link outfit and colors. You can also tell me if there's a location you might want to get one of these in so that it better fits the vibe of your channel, but I'm not promising I can make that happen. I'll only take requests for the next 7 days. Afterwards, I'm not going to take any requests. But if this works out well, then I might offer it again. After the 7 days, I'm going to be doing them all at once. I can promise no timeline for delivery, and I can't promise that you're going to love it, but I'm definitely going to try my best. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful.